Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Got my jumper on now. The Unfortunately the Edinburgh winter is coming back strong, which isn't great. Currently looking out the window now, the wind's there, the clouds are there, and yeah, not great to be honest. But I'm continuing these daily videos, and today I would just want to discuss 5 ways to stop drinking at night. I think depending on where you are, I think we'll all agree the long winter nights are probably the worst. Summer is tempting, of course, when it's nice weather outside and there's people outside and the restaurant and bars are busy. But I think with winter, you're just sitting here a lot of the time in your house. It's raining, it's dull, not much is really happening, and it's so tempting to crack open a bottle of wine or a drink. And I know I was really bad for that as well, just having pointless pints during the week, and it's just something that you need to stop. And for me, I'll go through these five things, and hopefully after listening to them, that there are things that'll help you stop drinking at night. And the first one is the change in your evening routine. I think most of us are quite regimental. I quite like I quite like routine as well. Working my 9 till 5, and you have the same Monday to Friday hours every week. And I think we're just kind of a bit kind of routine in our DNA, to be honest. And I think it's quite easy to fall into that trap of the routine, especially when you're finished work. You're maybe driving home, or you close your laptop and you go to the shop and you buy that bottle of wine or you buy your beers, and you come home, maybe you cook dinner and you drink with your dinner, and then or drink after your dinner, and then your usual program comes on at 8 o'clock, and that's when you always crack open maybe your first or your second. And you really need to kind of break that habit. And I think one of the big things that I've tried to do is, in the beginning, was coming up with different ways, of course, that would counteract that habit. And I've really started walking again. As I'm sure you'll know if you watched the previous videos, I stopped from 2017 to 2022, and then I started drinking again, and then in moderation, and then got back into bad habits. Just binge drinking, like most UK binge drinkers and or UK people, and I'm sure it's like the same all around the world. And yeah, in July of this year, 2025, I stopped again. And what I've really tried doing is the first thing to do is going out for a walk um, after work, or in the evening time. Try and go out both times. For me, it was always 6 o'clock. I would just have that, crack open a beer. Not the Monday, Tuesdays. I would normally be suffering a bit, but by the time it gets to maybe Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you're right. You're getting back to feeling all right again, and that's when the temptations came in. So for me, I started going for walks, and also a good one for me is having a big dinner, like really stuffing yourself with a dessert as well. And yeah, it could be worse. It's not a bad alternative. But I think that you really have to change up your routine. And the gym's another good one I've spoken about in different videos, where if you can maybe walk to the gym, and you don't need to go there, and you know you don't need to turn into a Mr. or Mrs. Universe body. I mean, you can just go there, and even if you can't really be bothered that night, just walk on the treadmill for half an hour, or run, or just sit on the bike and do a bit of that, and then have a long shower as well, and then walk home, and maybe walk home the long route. So I think number one, to stop drinking, is definitely you need to change that routine up. And it is quite easy. And I think after about a month, you really start to get back into a new habit, and those old ways will definitely disappear. Uh, a second one is replacing the drink. I found that drinking herbal teas, for example, is a really good replacement. Or you could have sparkling water with lime or lemon, for example. So because I think one thing that we need to replace is the habit of sipping on something the whole time. And I don't really hear a lot of podcasts kind of speaking about that. Kevin at V2, Habits Unplugged is really good at talking about habits, and how basically everything's for most, the vast majority of drinkers is, and ex-drinkers, it was the habitual stuff. Just you're into that habit of drinking, and I think, and it really resonates with me when you mentioned that in his YouTube videos, because I remember quitting smoking, and you could still smoke inside pubs here, and it was just, I think the feeling of, you just had something in your hand all the time, and you were just puffing on a cigarette all the time. That was really hard. I remember just kind of, I didn't really know what to do with my hands for the first month, because you were so used to just picking up a cigarette, because nobody could really be bothered going outside drinking. Everyone was trying to stop. Well, me and my friends were, because it was so cold outside. The weather's crap. You don't want to stand outside in the snow. So I think if you replace your glass of wine with just something like I say, sparkling water, herbal teas, iced teas, you'll still get into that. Your habit will still be there of slowly sipping on something, and maybe over time, that's something that you can wean yourself off. Also, another thing, I'll talk about number three, is just don't let the triggers win. There's a You just have to tell yourself that you know it won't be there forever. It will go, and that's when you kind of kick into to what I discussed in number one, where you're changing your routine, and you're going for short walks, and you're reading, for example. And I think with the regard to the triggers, it's just preparing again a healthier coping strategy, to deal with that kind of boredom and loneliness. Maybe there's stress as well at your job, and um, just try and write down what actually triggers you as well. Um, there just might be something. Maybe it's if you sit down for longer than 10 minutes, and there's no TV on, there's no music on, that your brain starts going into overdrive, which always happened with me, and you just kind of start overthinking, and you just get the, screw it, I'll just go to the shop. So just, like I say, with three, it's the triggers. Don't let them win, and if one does come, you know, phone that friend, maybe stick on a YouTube video, go for a walk, go to the gym, etc., and you'll get through it. The third, the fourth, sorry, is just planning an early wind down. Uh, I think once you get back into a good sleeping routine, you might be up at 6 or 7. I start to get tired about 9 o'clock now, and I'll tend to be in bed. So what I normally tend to do is I just completely change the routine. Going to sleep, sorry. Before, I would normally stay up till 11, 12, 1 o'clock, and much later at the weekends, if I was having a few drinks, end up watching just crap TV, or end up just flicking through YouTube the whole night. But what I do now is, by about 8 o'clock, I'll go for a long walk, and that walk will normally last till about 9, quarter past 9, and then I'll come home. I'll normally just have some Weetabix, some cereal, maybe just finish watching off a series, and then I go to bed with my laptop, and I just stick on a TV series episode, normally something like True Crime, or a World War II documentary that I've seen 1,000 times, that'll just easily let me nod off. So that way, I'm already in bed, and brushed my teeth, etc., and there's no way I'm going to get up and even be tempted. So by the time it's 8 o'clock, and you might be, usually I would maybe thinking, oh, I've already watched a few series, I'm a bit bored, it's crap weather outside, there's nothing on the TV. By that time, I'm just heading out the door and going for a good walk, and then, like I say, coming back, and ending up in bed about 9:30, and that way there's nothing can really trigger me. My mind's been occupied. I'm away to bed anyway, and the having a drink's the last thing I want to do. Because even if I did want a beer at 9:30, even before, I wouldn't have really had one at that time, because it's getting a bit late, and if you start drinking at 9:30, it's going to be a very late one if you start getting the taste for it. So just planning an early wind down's a good one. And finally, just ways to stop drinking is what I've spoken about before, and it's really important, is just staying accountable, and you know tell a friend, partner, a community about what you're doing. And then that means that at night time people know that you're there. They might know that you're struggling, and they'll maybe even reach out to you and ask how you're doing, especially if it is an ex drinker or somebody who's been on the has done the similar journey to what you have. And you know, you can be accountable to them. So if you're not doing it for yourself, maybe you don't want to let down your partner, your community group, or a friend you've told. And you can even phone them if you're struggling a bit. But like I say, I think if they're a good friend, they'll phone you as well. They'll text you. And what I would recommend, staying accountable, and is tracking your progress. And an app would be great to do it. There's apps like Days Since, for example, in the UK. I'm sure you can get it globally as well, or you can write down. You can make a chart in Excel, or you can download a free calendar and just X off the days and just keeping track of that. And when you actually see that you've already done 6 nights, 12 nights, 120 nights, you don't really want to ruin that running streak that you had. So just staying accountable. Um, is another really good way to just stop drinking at night. 'Cause like I say, you don't want to let yourself down. You might not want to let your partner down, and you might not want to end that good streak you went on, or that health streak. And yeah, so those are 5 things that hopefully will stop you quitting alcohol at night. I'm uploading daily videos at the moment for the foreseeable future. So if you did like the video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, bye.